We are live, speaker.
All right, thank you very much. Allow me to greet all our viewers and welcome everybody to the talk with the Speaker of Council. It gives me the greatest honor to be hosting this show today. On the 27th of October, we held our ordinary council meeting to approve important council business in accordance with Section 29 of the Municipal Structures Act. Hence, I'm saying I am honored to be hosting this show today. I think it's one of the special days. We had 135 reports on the day for approval as part of the agenda and debated 11 motions. However, I was moved by 2 motions in particular during this council meeting, namely the renaming of the council chamber after our former and late Speaker of Council, Councillor Nonceba Molwele, as well as the renaming of Caroline Street Retirement Village after former Johannesburg Councillor Susan Clark. For the purpose of our viewers who are joining us on different platforms today, let me just explain what motions are. Motions are statements that are initiated and brought to the House to outline a particular topic for Council to discuss and deliberate upon, or a question that is brought to the House for a decision to be made upon. Motions help to structure Council debate. The item then voted upon in order for it to be implemented. Once this process is completed, the public consultation process then takes place in preparation for the implementation of that particular resolution that would have been taken during the debate of the motion. So anybody can sponsor a motion. It can be a person or it can be a party that sponsors the motion. And the passing of these motions are a milestone for women leadership and for the city of Johannesburg as a municipality. And that is why today's show seeks to unpack who these women were that we speak of, why these motions were tabled in council, as well as the significance of this occurrence. Ladies and gentlemen, our panelists, the council chamber is a very significant part of council. It is the house where decisions are made about the lives or the livelihoods of Johannesburg residents. So that's where we make decisions as public representatives. It is where legislation is made, representation of communities is executed, and where oversight and scrutiny finds expression. The council chamber was initially built in Sis Connie's times. In fact, she is the one who championed this massive project with the aim of its realization set to be the catalyst for the revitalization and urban renewal of the precinct. The chamber's design is very symbolic. And I am inviting you, Doc, and all the viewers who have never been close to the chamber to visit this chamber and see what I'm talking about. It was designed to be secular, representing the Afrocentric structuring of meetings, resembling a likhutla or isbaya or kraal. It is shaped like the African drum because the drum beat is the rhythm of Africa, and the drum beat that usually goes off to summon council meetings signifies the drum beat that calls African leaders to the kraal or likhutla to deliberate on very important matters of community interest. So when you visit the council, you will hear the drums that I'm talking about, and you will have an idea of what I'm outlining here. The transparency of the chamber is to represent openness and accountability through the use of see-through facades. The incorporation of gold colors or elements into the finishes and fittings is as recognition of the city's heritage and status of the city of gold. Njengoba you know that Johannesburg ibizwa ilizwe legolide. The chamber is an iconic symbol for the city council and is a beacon for the transformation of the city. But one of the most important reasons for the new chamber was so that it is accessible to residents, because Mama Connie was very passionate about public participation. So if you compare the old chamber and this one, you will see the difference that I'm talking about in terms of the public gallery. Over and above these features I've mentioned, it really is a reminder of this Connie herself, who was a hard worker, a graceful, beautiful, authentically African woman leader who was indeed orderly, transparent, committed to the transformation of the people of Johannesburg, and a beacon of hope to many, especially women, young and old alike. Ladies and gentlemen, Councillor Susan Cllr was a ward councillor in Ward 83 who sadly lost her life after a long and heroic battle with cancer in March 2019. Councillor Cllr was a truly remarkable person who dedicated her life to uplifting and assisting everyone that sought her help. She gave of herself without a second thought for her own well-being. She was loved by her community and all of us in council. This is evident in that she served as a councillor for 3 terms. She was feisty in council and fought for what is right, but had the warmest heart. You know, ladies and gentlemen, the journey with cancer is heart-wrenching. It is a long and painful one. It takes a lot out of you. And if anything, it is absolutely exhausting. I found it very significant that a retirement village be named of Councillor Susan Cllr, because after a long, painful journey, after giving life her all, her spirit might have been willing, but her body could not go on. She herself, therefore, had to retire. She had to rest, and rightfully so, because she had given everything that she had. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not a pity part of our departed leaders, but it's a celebration today. Today's engagement is to highlight that the motions passed in council as it relates to these 2 great women that I have mentioned is a milestone. That regardless of party position and party colors, we are human first. And because we are government of local unity, ours is to work in unison with all in council. We truly appreciate the positive response from other parties when we call out to them to be part of such programs that seek to empower the civic and honor our very own councillors who had passion of the civic and community at heart. Ladies and gentlemen, my guests today are fellow councillors in the city of Johannesburg and leaders in the provincial government who knew and worked closely with our late speaker and Councillor Cllr. I am joined by Honorable Chair of Chairs in the provincial legislature, Umamusizakele Nkosi Malubane. I hope she has already joined, who will speak on the history or the life and times of Umama Ukholi Bapela. Here, we should get a glimpse of who this Connie was, her days during the struggle, and how she became who she was. I know, Honorable Malubane Nkosi, you are coming far, very far together with your brother, Usis Connie. And I know that time allocated to you today might not be sufficient to outline your journey with her. You are most welcome, Madam Chair, Chair of Chairs. You are most welcome to this platform.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will get a bite from the Connie Bapela Foundation on some of the work that foundation does based on Mam Connie's legacy. And here we are joined by the chairperson of Conibapela Foundation and the member of the provincial legislature, Honorable Thulan Ndlovu. Thulan, you are most welcome, Honorable.
Siyabonga, Speaker. Thank you.
Councillor Phumzile Sithole is a councillor in the city of Johannesburg who was also the seconder to the motion that was presented to council for its renaming. Councillor Sithole will speak to the motion itself, why it was presented, what is the great significance of this milestone, and what happens as a way forward. Where to from here? You are most welcome, Councillor Sithole. We are also joined by Councillor Alex Christians. Councillor Christians is a councillor in the city of Johannesburg as well. And in fact, Councillor Christians is the former chair of chairs. So he worked very closely with Councillor Clark and joins us today to talk about the life and times of Councillor Susan Clark. Councillor Christians, a very warm welcome to you. We are also joined by Councillor Margaret Arnold, who is the MMC for Community Development in the city. And in fact, Councillor Arnold worked with both the late Speaker of Council as well as Councillor Susan Clark. MMC Arnold will speak to the legacy of the late Susan Clark as well as the motion that was passed in Council. Welcome, MMC. I hope you have managed to join. Welcome to all our viewers, those and those on the platform. You are most welcome. Welcome to Bele, Ipelelethu, Dr. Nyati, who is our partner in these civic education programs. Welcome to all officials on the platform and those who are following us on different platforms. And with that, let us get straight into this jam-packed program. And without waste of time, let me hand over to Honorable Nkosi Malubane. Sisizakele Nkosi Malubane, please tell us about the life and times of Mrs. Connie, your brewer.
Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And also thank the City of Johannesburg for giving this opportunity to speak about the life and times of Bro. Never once in my lifetime did I imagine myself talking about Connie as the late. I'm still battling to date, coming to terms with that harsh reality. May his peaceful soul, through the mercy of God, rest in peace and rise in glory. I am humbled and honored to be part of this significant occasion to celebrate the legacy of our fallen hero, Conibapela. I will do injustice to talk about Connie's legacy without articulating her peculiar character, value system, and unprecedented commitment to better the lives of the poorest of the poor. Connie was the goddess of the rainbow, beacon of hope, a woman of substance, a social activist, a confidante, and of course, the list is endless. She was an epitome of true servant of the people as politics trumpet her personal life. Grace and grit are the words that best describe her. I deliberately articulate these words with precision because of the events that are tattooed in my memory, dating back 37 years ago, when we first met during our first meeting of the Alexander Youth Congress at 12th Avenue. In attendance was a handful of women, to name a few, Usonto, Uviki, and Utembi. In essence, I was incubated into the Alexander political landscape by this noble heroine as I sought refuge there after escaping the brutalities of the security branch in Diepkloof, where I grew up. Little did I know then that Alexander will be my home. A golden heart stopped beating and that is Bruce's heart. I will never forget one December holiday when we equally shared groceries from Jumbo for our families. We shared each other's family secrets. We went through trials and tribulations and still soldiered on as sisters and compatriots. As we traveled this precious gift called life together, we invented our strategies, one of them being the language peculiar to us that we used. A few of many scenarios are the following. When the arguments got physical and the engagement heated up amongst comrades, she will use the term broer as a signal to escape from disputes or fight. When Connie said broer, as her and there, I knew what she meant. The term broer became our nickname. Our children, close friends started calling us Abo broer. When I lost my temper in a lower voice, she would call me to order and say, broer, vele uthule manje. There was a distinct feature that characterized our sisterhood, where both amenable to each other's ideas that brought respect, positive aura, and rare posture to our friendship. We were family by design. Broer, she taught me progressive feminism, a triple challenge
It must not be
feminism as a brand of feminism based on mere in our sisterhood, despite the amount of adbunu. Our first conflict with the law took place in 1985 when we fought apartheid. In 1986, it was a difficult time for both of us when we were detained at Johannesburg prison. Those were unforgettable days of our lives. I still remember vividly a lot about our lives together in detention. I still remember vividly how terrified we were of those brutal security branch personnel, the SP. Day and night we feared for our lives. We were scared that we will be murdered, raped, or disappear without trace. But as sisters, we stood the test of time, and when we were released, we reunited our relationship. Our relationship grew strong. I still remember vividly how we protected Lorraine Stanza's girlfriend when Stanza went missing while she was highly expectant and she was in detention with us. I still remember vividly how we were insulted by Amabunu for being the only women to fight for liberation prison, whilst remember vividly how she was in disguise. During these difficult days, we're introduced to sterling men and women, our mentors, our foster parents. We're blessed to meet Umamtoko Mngoma, Brajo Manana, Sipho Kubheka, Usisinkele Ntingane, Umama Bennett Mncube, Umasisulu Ujesi Duarte, Usis O'Hara Diseko, Usis Amanda Uzwelake Susulu, who fetched us from prison when on the day we were released, and many older comrades. I still remember vividly when it was time for local government nominations in Tucson. Connie was highly expectant. I was already a councillor. I wanted her to be a councillor too. When we were elected as councillors at the Eastern MLC in 1985, we were so happy and rowdy, hoping that we will be able to serve our people with dignity and deliver services that our people waited for years in order to access. She was never elected in the executive, although I was for 12 years, and she never complained. When we lost elections in August 2016, she went back as an ordinary councillor after serving as a speaker for 5 years. She never stopped serving our people. With a little salary she had, she continued to take care of a number of people, including our clients at Bombani Shelter for Abused Women. I take my hat off to her for her unwavering commitment. After all these years together, here I am standing alone without her and talking in this platform. What lessons are we drawing from her legacy? I believe she taught us the values of the ANC, the respecting of the needs of our people, the selflessness, the walking tall, the spirit of resistance and tenacity, keeping the wolves from the door as women, the significance of observing and formulating our social constructs from her determination, firmness of mind, putting duty ahead of personal interest, unyielding courage, passion, nobility, and goodness. It is upon us gathered here today to emulate and infuse her value system in our daily lives as we serve the citizenry of the city of Johannesburg. Let me close by saying, Madam Speaker, there's an array of powerful Black women in South Africa that are never recognized, that are never remembered, and it is important that we celebrate their accomplishments, yet it is also important to give voice to those are yet to have their moment in the sunlight. Let us stop being selfish. Let us not look inwardly. Let us look outwardly and also be prepared to serve those that we claim have elected us or those that have definitely elected us. I'm going to start also just quickly, Chair, with the literature because I think it is a field in which African women voices have been marginalized. If you look at America, for example, you can point out a few Black female authors, Alice Walker, Maya Angelou, and of course, the recently passed Toni Morrison, whereas in South Africa, the only author that comes into my mind at the moment is actually Umama Miriam Tladi. But the ones that are popular are only men, as if women are not actually contributing in our struggle. When I had a discussion with my daughter, and we also about the gender talk that we went to last week, where the audience was asked who the first woman president in the world was, and no one could even answer the question. Of course, Umama Estela Isabel Martínez Catas, the person of Argentina, is her name. But when you ask about Margaret Thatcher, immediately people knew who Margaret Thatcher was, and they associated her being an iron lady. Let us avoid making mistakes of people forgetting who Coniba Pella is. And Madam Speaker, I really appreciate what the city of Johannesburg have done by renaming the chamber after Ukoni Bapela, but also appreciate what the ANC have done to rename their offices after Ukoni Bapela. We will never forget her name, and from time to time, we will remember, and our children will ask who Connie Bapela was, and those that will still be alive will be able to articulate her position in society, her sacrifices that she made. She sacrificed her youth in order to make sure that the liberation that today we are enjoying and sometimes we are messing up, she did that with dignity, and let us also make sure that we do it with dignity and stop being corrupt. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malubane Nkosi, for giving us a background and for us to understand who Connie Bapela was and why is it so significant that we name the council chamber after her. You spoke of the importance of celebrating the contribution African women did and keep on doing within the society. And you also spoke about the importance of serving the people, because that is what Connie Bapela was. She was a servant of the people. You spoke about the importance of making sure that we emulate and infuse the value system and the principles that as a people and as Africans we are about. And the lessons that we need to draw from the legacy of Connie Bapela. Thank you very much. Before I go to the second speaker, let me say that I am so honored to have Mama Connie Bapela's husband, Utata Obed Bapela, who is also the Deputy Minister of CoJ. I have been made aware that Honorable Bapela has joined this discussion today. You are most welcome, Deputy Minister, Honorable Bapela, who is the husband to our late Connie Bapela. We are delighted to have you on the platform. And let me also welcome all the councillors who have joined us here. Mamusizagele, before I request Utatu Bapela to show his face, I got a message that when you were speaking, people, the viewers were not seeing you. You might have maybe a bandwidth problem, but because you are no longer speaking now, if you could just show your face, if it is possible. Honorable Nkosi Malobane.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was a little bit emotional, hence I deliberately hide my face. It is still painful not to have Connie.
I know. Thank you very much, Ma. We really appreciate. Deputy Minister, you are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Speaker. So I'm here and I'm listening. Thank you very much for the honor.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. We are really honored to have you here on the platform. We are talking about the servant of the people. We are talking about a heroine. Honorable Sizagele Nkosi has articulated, has gave us a glimpse of who Sis Connie was, as we remember her indeed. Thank you very much.
And also to let you know that the children are also here, two of them, with Dumelo and Femela John. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You are most welcome, with Dumelo and who? John. You are most welcome. We really welcome the Bapela family on the platform. We are honored to have you. The next speaker will be Honorable Thulani Ndlovu. Honorable Thulani Ndlovu, just take us through the work of the foundation and why the foundation, why was it established, and what does it do, and what is it that the foundation will do in making sure that we don't forget about this heroine we are talking about.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Cllr Molwele, the Bapela family, led by CoJ Deputy Minister, Honorable Obed Bapela, Honorable Chair of Chairs of the Gauteng Legislature, Honorable Nkosi Malobane, the Mayor of the City of Joburg, Geoff Makubo, the entire Mayoral Committee, esteemed councillors and officials of the City of Joburg, members of the Connie Bapela Foundation, esteemed guests, and all protocol observed. We feel very honored to be part of this important occasion as part of those who bestow perpetual eternity to the name of the late Mama Connie Bapela. As a representative of the Connie Bapela Foundation and on behalf of the Bapela family, we welcome the gesture of naming this august chamber as Connie Bapela House. However, I would like in the first instance to clarify briefly what Connie Bapela Foundation is. The foundation has come into being as a result of discussions within the Connie Bapela Legacy Project. After well-considered deliberations and taking into account the impact of her name in the struggle for a democratic, non-racial, non-sexist and prosperous society, it was therefore deemed necessary to convert the Connie Bapela Legacy Project into a Connie Bapela Foundation. She was born in LX in the early 60s. She was an activist. She was a founder member of COSAS in the 1979. Influenced by the selflessness and sacrifices of the June 1976 generation, she remained steadfast in her resolve in the fight for free and compulsory education. However, being a student, she believed that student struggle was intricately linked with the struggle against national oppression and class exploitation. Guided and instructed by the African National Congress, she participated actively in various community campaigns against the racist apartheid regime. She enjoyed the experience tutelage of the ANC struggle icon, Mama Thoko Mngoma, as Honorable Nkosi have alluded, who lived in Alexandra and was amongst the militant and steadfast women who mobilized thousands of women across South Africa to march to the Union buildings in 1956 against the past laws. Mama Connie acted according to Mama Thoko's teachings. She rose within the ranks, and this saw her occupying several positions in the Alexandra MTM structures. After she completed the high school, she played an instrumental role towards the formation of the Youth Congress, to which she was elected Deputy Secretary, a position she held with diligence and commitment. She was part of the collective that was led by Comrade Paul Mashatile as president of ACO. While in ACO, Mama Connie never lost her zeal in asserting the role of young women in the national liberation struggle. This saw her, among other things, being active towards the formation of the Alexandra Women's Organization, which became an affiliate of the Federation of Transvaal Women, also an affiliate of the UDF. However, her political activities never escaped attention of the repressive apartheid state machinery. This saw her being subjected to police harassment and continuous detention. She was detained without a trial for 4 years at the Joburg prison cells, currently known as Sun City Prison, during the state of emergency. In 1985, earning the longest female detainee in the Transvaal. She was detained together with comrades Sizakele Nkosi, Omo Makanya, Tiny Pule, Lorraine Mokhotsi, and others. She was later released in 1989 after being involved in an Operation Pambana, where all female detainees bent their sleeping mattresses and embarked on a 14-day hunger strike as part of national hunger strike by detainees throughout the country. This led to her and other detainees being released, and she was placed under house arrest until the unbanning of the ANC in 1990. Maconie's sacrifices epitomized the leader who embodies the trials and tribulations of a leader who is selfless. She was an inspiration to the rank and file in the movement and the people of the city in general. Her personal integrity and unyielding dedication to the cause of freedom will surely assure her a prominent place among the heroines of the struggle. Maconie was also a community activist and a people's person. She participated in the life of our community. Together with Honorable Sizakele Nkosi Malobane and other progressive women, through their continued efforts to create and build a better life for a young African child, Mama Connie is amongst the leaders reigning from Alexandra, who established the Vincent Chabalala Educating Trust that I think celebrates 16 years, if not more, this year, to which she was serving as a member of the Board of Trustees. The trust sponsors Alex pupils from disadvantaged backgrounds. She contributed in preserving the dignity of many students from Alexandra schools by supporting and making it possible for them to access university. Another key project they did is the establishment of the Shelter for Abused Women, naming it Bombani Shelter for Abused Women in 1999. The shelter supports thousands of women who have been abused and are in constant danger. Many of these women have been empowered to live independently and have acquired skills and academic qualification. One of her key community interests, amongst others, was her compassion towards the elderly and passion for education. She was passionate about uplifting the community and had programs that the foundation has agreed to continue implementing. The foundation will focus on the following areas. Women empowerment. The foundation aims to preserve her legacy as a freedom fighter against apartheid and gender oppression by honoring all other women freedom fighters who have in different capacities served the people of South Africa. It also aimed to celebrate the women that are role models in our community and supporting women initiatives. Early childhood development. We're in the process of identifying ECD centers that she worked with and busy engaging in NGOs that assist in that field. Initiatives and activities with the elderly. Mama Connie had an annual event where towards Christmas, she would buy the elderly gifts and treat them to a 3-course meal. During these events, she would make sure that the elderly feel like VIPs, and special entertainment enjoying music performance from Bambanani Brass Band, a band she had adopted to perform at her events to help promote them. This is one of the legacy projects that we are continuing since 2018. Arts and culture projects. We already work with the Bambanani Brass Band and Fifi the Poet, who both worked with Mama Koni. They both performed at the launch last year, and we are in the process of consolidating a program to assist the sector throughout the community. As I conclude, the name of Connie Bapela will continue to reverberate within the corridors of Johannesburg and beyond. From the dusty streets of Alexandra as a student activist in COSA, as a youth leader of ACO, ANC leader, and as an elected councillor in the city of Joburg. She symbolized a true patriot of exceptional qualities. As the Connie Bapela Foundation will seek to maintain her unbroken line of service to the people of South Africa, thereby ensuring that we continue to exhibit her passion, which is to improve the lives of those in need. I thank you, Speaker.
I'm not sure. I think we have lost Tulani.
No, he has finished, Speaker.
I concluded. Okay. Thanks, Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Ndlovu. Indeed, her legacy should remain, and may Sis Connie's soul rest in peace. I have spoken about the chamber being an iconic symbol for the city and being a beacon for the transformation. And I also indicated that one of the most important reasons for this new chamber, which includes the naming of the chamber, it was the fact that Mam Koni was very passionate about it, and she wanted the chamber to be accessible to the residents, and like I said, that her passion was about public participation. Now let us hear about the motion. Why the motion? Why this motion? Councillor Tole, if you can just take us through the motion to name council in memory of the late speaker, Councillor Connie Buntle Bapela.
Ngibonge Somlomo. I would like to firstly just apologize. There was a passing storm and I think it affected the technology. The Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, the Chair of Chairs in the City of Joburg in absentia, MMC Arnold, Honorable Chair of Chairs of the Gauteng Legislature, Umama Usizakele Nkosi Malubane, Honorable Ndlovu, who's also the Chair of the Connie Bapela Legacy Foundation, officials in the city, the Bapela and Hlatshwayo families, members of the Connie Bapela Foundation, leadership of the ANC in the region, my fellow panelists, guests, and all protocol observed. Now, the renaming of the new chamber is provided for in the standing rules and orders of council. Councillor Salfina Mulaudzi, who is our Chair of Chairs in the municipality, spearheaded this motion on behalf of the caucus of the African National Congress. And myself on the other side just had a small responsibility of seconding this particular motion. The process has always been in the wings since after the passing of our former speaker, Umamukoni. I mean, there were a number of councils that went by without us reaching finality where we would have an opportunity to submit this particular motion. But as the gods and God would have it, we were able to see that matter to finality with the council that just passed. So this particular delay did not necessarily diminish our spirit, but it just strengthened our resolve in ensuring which we see this process through. Bomma, Constance Buntle Bapela, was a community activist. So ninga mangali mangimbiza ubomma. For me, it was an endearing name that I gave her because of Ukoni Begu Mama. Ukoni was also a sister. Ukoni was a community activist and a community leader, and to some of us, she was also a mentor. Her passion was mainly within the people. Her passion was that of being an activist. She was groomed by the people of Alex and the streets of Alex. She loved the people and was also dedicated in making sure that she honors those that had given her an opportunity to be able to grow in these dusty streets of Alex, as Thulani had put it. She embroiled herself in a number of activities, in a number of sectors. This included your cultural groups, this included traditional leaders, this included churches, the elderly, and especially the young ones, which were her biggest passion. Now, also, with a lot that has been said about her political career, with her also facing this brutal cold face of apartheid, that did not diminish her spirit. I mean, it only made you if you knew Connie, you'd understand her personality, how infectious her personality was, how reconciliatory she was as a person. Now, the matter of the political history, Madam Speaker, I would not want to because of a lot has already been said, especially by the two past histories. But we must also note that Bomma served the people of Johannesburg as a PR councillor for 20 years. So she dedicated a good part of her youth towards serving the people of Johannesburg. She saw the transformation and the amalgamation of the various councils that existed based on segregation in the city of Johannesburg into one metropolitan council within the city of Johannesburg. Now, when she became the speaker, she had foresight, she took into consideration the rapid growth of the population of the city of Johannesburg. And that to her said, it is inevitable that the number of seats within the municipality are going to grow. And the current chamber will not be able to accommodate the numbers of this growing city. She also saw the need for an active participatory democracy. That meaning that the old chamber did not accommodate public to come into the chamber to observe the proceedings of council. And she then went ahead into making sure that she builds or she spearheads the building of a much bigger chamber, a chamber that is technologically advanced and a chamber that is able to accommodate people. Now, in her mind, with the background that she had, when she envisioned this particular chamber, she traveled throughout a number of countries to see exactly what it is that municipalities were doing out there. And when she came back with her design, for her, it was important that the design had to encompass an African spirit, because of when you look at our chamber from the outside, we are born a shape calabash, and these are some of the ideas that she wanted to make sure that she pushes through within the municipality. She needed to make sure that there was capacity building that was happening for councillors. And I remember there was a time where she was saying, but what's about as female councillors, we usually have a challenge because we are mothers. And when you have a young child, it is not easy for you to attend the council because of Kamo, you have a child that you need to feed, that you need to look after. And I remember what she wanted to do was to set up a center that would help especially women councillors in looking after their children whilst they were busy in making decisions on behalf of the communities or on behalf of the citizens of Johannesburg. Now, during the time in the construction of this chamber, she also looked at the key focal areas of Johannesburg. Where was Johannesburg moving? Johannesburg was moving towards an energy efficient environment, and the city and its leadership had to be exemplary in showing that they were building a green city, a city that was more environmentally friendly, a space that would also accommodate those that are living with disabilities. And hence, when you also look at the way that the chamber has then been designed, it has then there was that aspect of taking care of the energy efficiency that needed to be encompassed within the building of the city. Now, this particular building, not only is it aesthetically beautiful, but this particular building is an award-winning building because it symbolizes sustainability. And this is also part of her characteristic that she had, that everything that she worked on or everything that she built was not only going to be in existence for a short period of time. So bekungeke kube yinto nje evumbuka manje esidulwini isiphelile, but it was something that had longevity, just like her beauty, just like her spirits, just like her personality. Umam Khoni was a very transparent individual. She made sure that as in part of her tenure, we would go out to residents. She would share information with residents across all facets of the communities that she led and the community that she lived amongst. Umam Khoni was transparent to a point that you could not even come to her and gossip about somebody else. Because of as you are busy gossiping, she will then tell you, but I'm going to tell them that you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she was that type of person that discouraged unnecessary skirmishes, especially amongst comrades of the organization that she loved the most. The chamber, as a symbol of transformation, is a symbol that shows that the transformative agenda that is representative of the organization that she was part of and an organization that she led will live a lasting legacy. Mam Khoni, there is a number of things that we can say about her, but some of the things that I have mentioned, which are not a lot of what she has done, but some of the things that I have mentioned resonate with our core belief, our core objective as to why it is important or why it was important for us to have made sure that we actually name the city after her. Now, as I close, Madam Speaker, I think it's important that we embody some of the characteristics that Umam Khoni has. Some of those were mentioned by both Honorable Nkosi and Honorable Ndlovu, that we must be people-centered. She was always for the people. We must then move towards the decolonization of our continent, especially our education system, because of that is important for the future and the survival of generations to come. The emancipation of women, and these are some of the things that she imparted to some of us younger than her, embodying the each one teach one spirit that she had learned from Ikosas in her younger years. In ensuring that we actually uplift African knowledge systems, because of when you also look at Ufifi the poet and you listen to her material, it then tells you some of the challenges or some of the ideas that were coming about from Madam Speaker. But an of most important is about reteaching the values of the African National Congress to the younger generation. So it is important for us to be able to sustain her legacy. It is important for her children, for her family, to see us honoring the times that she has given up to make sure that the African National Congress actually perseveres. Madam Speaker, without Ugyalololo, can I just stop here? Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Councillor Sithole. Thank you very much for unpacking and explaining the motion and the reason for the motion. I am sure now that our viewers do have an understanding why this recommendation of this motion. They do have an understanding why the naming of this beautiful council chamber after our visionary leader who was always there for the people. You spoke about about transparency, hence the transparency of the council chamber. I have invited those who have not seen the council chamber to come and see the council chamber so that you can attest to what has been tabled today. Before I get to the next speaker, let me acknowledge the presence of the regional secretary of the ANC, Comrade Dada Morero, who leads with the leadership of the region, who were part or who came with the idea that Sizakele Nkosi Malubane spoke about of renaming the regional offices of the ANC after Connie Bapela. So it is now called Connie Bapela House. When you drive through the inner city of Johannesburg, you see that beautiful face and the name Connie Nonceba. So we really appreciate your presence here, Mr. Dada Morero, our regional secretary. You are most welcome. Now, let's go to the next speaker. We spoke about the second motion, which the second motion was about the renaming after Councillor Susan Clark. I did indicate that Councillor Susan Clark was a truly remarkable person who dedicated her life to the uplifting and assisting the community that she lived within. She gave herself without a second thought for her own well-being. She served the citizens. She served the citizens of Johannesburg as a ward councillor for Ward 83. I am told, Councillor Christians, that MMC is unable to log on to the meeting. You might have to take us through the life and times of the late Councillor Susan Clark and also talk on the motion. Why this motion to rename Caroline Street Retirement Village in memory of Councillor Clark? You might have to do both in the absence of MMC Arnold. Over to you, Councillor Christians.
Madam Speaker?
Yes.
My apologies before Councillor Christians continues. MMC Margaret Arnold has just entered the meeting now.
Oh,
so I think she might be able to speak on that item. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Then, Councillor Christians, you will only be limited to talk about the life and times of the late Councillor Susan Clark. Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Plaga. And you are most welcome, MMC Arnold.
Yeah, she's still connecting, speaker.
Okay. Councillor Alex Christians, over to you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Councillor Molwele. When I was invited to be a panelist today, I was told that we'll be honoring great women of council. And it's indeed, it was indeed an honor for me to have made the motion to name Caroline Street retirement units after the late Councillor Suzanne Clark. But before Suzanne would have started any meeting, if anybody called her Susan Clark, she would have stood up and said, please, if you can't get my name right, do not mention my name. It is Councillor Suzanne Clark, not Susan. She hated being called Susan. So I've been fortunate in that listening to what the Honourable Speaker, Chair of the Provincial Legislature, when she was speaking, it reminded me actually of when I did my internship in National Parliament in 1997, and I served on the Committee of Gender Equality and the Status of Women. It is really disappointing to hear 26 years into our democracy, members are still talking about the same thing, that there has been no change when it comes to gender equality and the status of women. So I'm not too sure how progressive we've been as a country if somebody as seen as a chair of chairs in the provincial legislature is still saying the same thing that was being said almost 24 years ago. Suzanne Clark, I met her for the first time in early 2000, and she was sitting in an office as an administrator for a councillor in the Roodepoort area. And when I walked in there as a senior staff member of the then DP, I asked her, what are you doing here? And she said, I'm helping the people. So I said, oh, okay, that's great. How long have you been here? Well, I've been here for over a year. So I said, oh, that's great. Are you a counselor? And she said, no, I'm not a counselor. I'm a volunteer that has come out here just to help the people. I said, that was amazing. When I came to Johannesburg in 2013, I met her again, and she was the chairperson of the caucus in the city of Johannesburg for the DA. And one thing that stood out about Suzanne was that she could speak 9 different dialects, South African dialects, plus she could speak Portuguese fluently. So you're talking about great and amazing woman. This was Suzanne. She could converse with anybody in South Africa, understand them, and respond to them in their own language. So it was quite easy for me to honor her with this motion, because in 2016, she became the chairperson of the Housing Committee. And she used to go every single day out in the street. She'll come to the office, see if she had any appointment, then she'd be back in the street. And what she found was that in my ward of Vredendorp, the 258 old age units had not had any service, any maintenance, any upgrades for over 15 years. She then did a report to the Housing Committee to say this is what her finding was, but she didn't stop there. She actually went and found out who was responsible for maintenance, and JPC was responsible for maintenance. And she managed with her report to convince them to use the maintenance money to upgrade and give dignity back to our elderly people. Now, the reason for naming the Caroline Street Old Age Unit, not only to honor Suzanne Clark for her work and the time she spent in our community, but it was also, besides giving dignity to our elderly, is to give them a sense of relief when it came to their health and safety. Dr. Fundile, I'm going to do something that's very unorthodox, because Suzanne was never known to be a very orthodox person. The motion seeks not only to name a old age unit, it's actually there to give safety to those residents. And I have with me one of the residents with me. Auntie Myra is sitting here and has been listening to this, and she was part of the discussions when Suzanne was there. And the reason why Suzanne was so vigorous about that retirement village is because Auntie Myra was just relating to me now how when her son wanted to visit her and put in on the GPS Caroline Street Old Age Units, he ended up on the other side of town instead of coming to where she was. Now, can you imagine if there was a robbery there and SAPS was looking for it? They'll go to the wrong place. Auntie Myra and them have to go to hospital every month. Some of them have to be picked up by the ambulance, and ambulances don't even know where Caroline Street Old Age Unit is, because it's called Caroline Street, and Caroline Street is quite a long street. It goes between 4 suburbs, actually. It goes between the suburb of Vredendorp, Vredendorp, Jan Hofmeyer, and Brixton. So that is what Auntie Myra just told me. So that's why I'm introducing Auntie Myra as well. So this is the sort of people that Councillor Suzanne Clark was fighting for. So for the motion to come through unopposed was actually excellent. And it actually warmed my heart, because at the time I was the chair of chairs, and actually we all as chairpersons were learning from Suzanne. As I said, she would come in the office, check what appointment she has, and every afternoon she would go door to door to the housing units that belong to the city to see what was happening there. And she would then have meetings with the then MMC for housing and say, this is what needs to happen. Why are you not doing it? So she did her oversight thoroughly. And this is the appreciation from our elderly when she managed to get the money. And when I spoke to them about calling their units the Suzanne Clark Retirement Village, they were thrilled. So that is the background. And being part of the debate, I must say that Councillor Sithole mentioned that one of the things, and also yourself, Councillor Molwele, was transparency. And I was hoping this debate or the talk on this would be transparent in that there was opposition to Connie Bapela's motion, in that we believed my party believed that we should do justice to her. As Mr. Ndlovu was saying, she was not just there to build something that would be named after her. She was there for the community. She was there for the people. And that is more important than having something to be named after you, which actually wouldn't contribute to the development of young people and women in general. So I think let's be transparent so that everybody can understand what true transparency is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Christians. As you were talking about Councillor Suzanne Clark and showing one of the senior citizens in the village, I thought of what Tatu Mandela said, if I may quote what he said. He said, a society that does not value its older people denies its roots. So I really appreciate, in fact, I was disturbed by a phone here. It says a society that does not value its older people denies its roots and endangers its future. Let us strive to enhance their capacity to support themselves for as long as possible. And when they cannot do so anymore, to take care for them. I think I was just summarizing what you were saying about Councillor Suzanne Clark and her passionate. Without further ado, let me welcome on the platform one of our panelists, MMC Margaret Arnold. MMC, can you take us through the motion to rename Caroline Street Retirement Village in memory for Councillor Suzanne Clark? I know that Councillor Christians has touched on the motion as well, but just take our viewers through the motion itself. Why the motion? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I first want to apologize for being late. And I also want to apologize because I'm not well. I was forced to get up today to be in the city, but I just want to say that my apologies, and I hope it's accepted from everybody. Okay, I think the Councillor Christians has, as you said, touched on the motion and why we are naming the actual institute after Councillor Susan Clark. But I also want to just say that the motion is quite in line with what the late Councillor Susan Maria Clark, if I'm saying it right, Councillor Christian, Maria Clark stood for. She was born in Joburg, but she was raised in Tabazimbi. Councillor Clark was multilingual and spoke 7 languages. Even though she was a member of the Democratic Alliance, she was always affected by politics following the imprisonment of a mother for taking in vulnerable children. And I also think that is one of her strengths. One of the lessons the councillor learned in politics was not to take anything for granted and to always endeavor to understand the issues that affect the residents. A council view that was that there'd be an immediate priority to the restoration of the citizens' confidence in any administration in the city. And I'm certain she would be proud of the GLU currently. Councillor Clark believed that the youth should be motivated to strive for excellence in leadership. She said if given the opportunity to govern for a day, she would professionalize the manner in which call centers operate. Councillor Clark drew inspiration from the following quote by Mahatma Gandhi: "Be the change that you want to see in the world." And we know she always strived to changing what was around her and even changing the lives of the elderly people. She was a fighter to the end. She fought until she passed on last year, March, following her long battle with cancer. And I don't think that there's any woman more befitting to have the institute named after them than Councillor Clark. I didn't know her for a long time, but the time that I knew her demonstrated to me that she was passionate, she was honest, and she was true to being the change that she wanted to see. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, MMC, for giving us that highlight. To the viewers who joined late, we are today honoring two great women. We are honoring our late speaker, Councillor Connie Buntle Bapela, whom we are going to name our chamber after. We are also honoring Councillor Suzanne Clark. I hope I've pronounced correctly, Councillor Christians, whom we are going to rename Caroline Street Retirement Village in her memory. We are honoring these two heroines. I did indicate that regardless of party position and party colors, it doesn't matter what color of a t-shirt you are wearing. First and foremost, we are human. And secondly, we are servants of the people. Our role as councillors, irrespective of our political parties or affiliation, we are here to serve the community of the city of Johannesburg. So we are honoring these two great women today. And let me hand over to Sipho just to tell us what our viewers are saying before I can also hand over to, we still have time, we have the Bapela family here. If maybe the Bapela family, through you, Honorable Deputy Minister, if you would want to have a word, I would also give you that opportunity, or to the children, if they would want to have a word, and also give to the children. After we've heard what the viewers are saying, let's hear from Sipho, and then after Sipho, I will hand over to the Bapela family. Allow me to also recognize or acknowledge the presence of one of our honorable MPs. I see Mama Winnie Ngwenya is also here. She has joined us all the way from Parliament. We can see you, Mama Winnie. You are most welcome in this important discussion.
Okay, Madam. Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you so much. I've got a few comments on social media. The first one comes from Lesego. Says, I am so delighted to hear of such powerful women being honored today. And then another one from Abigail says, Womandla, this is such a proud moment. And Tabang says, we celebrate all women in power. So I think, let me stop there for now, Madam. I'll do another one afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much, Sipho. The Honorable Ntate Bapela.
Thank you, Chairperson and Speaker. Just to, as other speakers have spoken about the characteristics that embodied Comrade Connie Bapela, and I just want to punctuate on some of those issues, was the issue of discipline, selflessness, saving the people, commitment, hardworking, and always wanting to see unity amongst people, as but some of those that characterize who she was. And I so wish that in today's generation of activists across all political parties can really embrace these values of leadership. And then we hope therefore that as they do so, we'll be able to see a new breed of leaders emerging across political parties, particularly in my party, the African National Congress. And I think we need them to continue to restore, reclaim those characteristics and ensure that they are part of the embodiment of the activists and the cadres of our movement, so that we could then become that organization that is there for the interest of the people, that is there to serve, and that is there to ensure that service delivery is the core of our mandate when we occupy offices, when we get deployed in the legislatures, in the council, anywhere or any positions that we have. I just want really to just share on those aspects, and then I think quite a number of issues have been said about Comrade Nivapela, and thanks to Comrade Sizagele and also Comrade Ndlovu, and also to Comrade Phumzile for the attributes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bapela. I must say that as a current speaker, I am indeed standing on the shoulders of a giant. Thank you very much, Dr. Nyati. Doc?
Speaker?
Yes. We are discussing two powerful women here who served the city of Johannesburg, the big city, which has more than 5 million residents and the biggest municipality in the continent.
No, thank you, Speaker. I think my view is we need to do more of that, you know, as the people of Johannesburg. There's many women who have sacrificed so much to serve the people of this great city. So the recognition of the two Mbogodos today is actually something that we should celebrate. Yes, it's in, you know, it's posthumous, but it is something that we must continue to do, even to others who are still alive.
Thank you very much, Doc. Indeed, phambili ngezimbokodozi, phambili. Phambili, the recognition of women. So at this point in time, I'm going to give back to our panelists before I hand over to Councillor Masidi Somfikwe to do vote of thanks. Our panelists, just to wrap up, if I could start from the beginning with Honorable Sizagele Nkosi, also to incorporate the comments from our viewers. If you could just have some last words, Honorable Nkosi Malobane.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am, for the opportunity. And as indicated earlier, we want to thank the leadership of the city, as well as the leadership of the ANC, for making sure that igama likaKhoni alishabalali like any other women leader. She's one of the fortunate women, and their names will always be remembered as the contributors in making sure that we get our liberation. But also, as indicated earlier, Chair, Khoni was not just an activist, but she was a social activist that was not only focused on politics and power, but she was actually focusing on making sure that our people's lives are made better. But she also committed herself in making sure that she fights for injustice, irrespective of who was actually committing that injustice to our people. She was also committed in making sure that our government, our country is corruption free. She was also committed in making sure that our country is women friendly and children friendly. And because of the recognition that the city has given her, and of course, the recognition that the ANC leadership have given her in Johannesburg region, she will never be forgotten. And those values will always be remembered, because when our children and children's children ask questions about who Connie Bapela was, people will then answer and say she was Connie Bontle Bapela, who stood for these values. And Madam Speaker, we really appreciate and thank you for actually doing what you did. Those deeds are actually great deeds. I heard someone saying Connie served the city of Johannesburg for 20 years. It's actually far much more than 20 years. She was a councillor from 1995 up to 2 years ago. Let me also thank Chair that at least we still work together with the family, and it's a family of activists, to make sure that she's one of those young women. And if you count young women who are still active, who are still remembered, they are actually, even the women that I actually mentioned earlier, are no longer, people have forgotten about them, and women leaders do disappear because of patriarchy in our country, patriarchy in the world, and at least she was not absorbed or consumed or agwinye the patriarchy. And for those reasons, I thank you and appreciate the opportunity that was given to me. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Nkosi Malubane, and also your passion to fight patriarchy. I'm sure together as women and men and women, because we cannot end patriarchy alone as women. We have to work together with our men in making sure that there is equality and we do away with patriarchy in our society. Thank you so much. Let me now give to Honorable Ndlovu just to wrap up.
Thanks, Speaker. I wouldn't say much than to concur with what Honorable Nkosi, Chair of Chairs, has said, but to basically add that to emulate this woman, you must be like her, and being like her, you must engage people like Honorable Mankosi, so that you know more about her. But from us as the foundation, ours is to make sure that her legacy lives on, and the void that she left is closed through her work. That we'll do, and we request all of you to be available as and when we need you to come and render services in making sure that this name does not die, but continue to multiply. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ndlovu. Mama Connie Bapela shall multiply. Thank you. Councillor Phumzile Sithole, your last words.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Firstly, I would like to send my gratitude for the opportunity to be allowed to speak on such greatness. That was Mama Connie Bontle Bapela. And what is important for all of us to acknowledge or to pursue, we need to ensure that her work needs to continue. Her voice needs to be heard in the corridors of the city of Johannesburg, in the streets, in the various VDs, in the various wards that she operated within in the city of Johannesburg. Lastly, just to say that both Umamu Connie and Umamu Suzanne exuded quality leadership, and they also led virtuously with such a manner of calmness in their spirit that at times it would be seldom to actually see them very angry. So it is a spirit that we need to embody as we ensure that we selflessly serve the people of the city of Johannesburg. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sithole. Thank you so much. Let me now go to Councillor Christians. And Councillor Christians, Councillor Susan Clark spoke different languages. Maybe you can try isiTswana as well, because she spoke isiTswana very fluently.
Thank you, Councillor Molwele, but you forget
I'm launching you.
you forget I'm a Zulu boy. But let me say that coming from KZN, the phrase that describes Councillor Suzanne Cllr is "Muntu ngumuntu ngabantu."
Yes.
So that best describes her. So you can see some of us are also talented like she was. But as I was speaking earlier on, the word got out, and behind me now you see two other ladies, and these are the ladies that Suzanne Cllr touched very dearly, because they were part of the Women's League that she led as well. And that is the type of woman she was. When you hear her name, people will come running to assist, and they're carrying on with that legacy, not only in the old age units, but also in society. So I'm very grateful that the City of Johannesburg and all the councillors unanimously agreed to rename Caroline Street the Suzanne Cllr Retirement Village. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councillor Christians. Let me now hand over to MMC Arnold. MMC.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity. I do think that what the city is doing to both these women are really good for the GLU as a government, but also that we as the next generation and even the younger generation needs to take from that. It takes time to reach your peak. And I think these two ladies have really shown us that being a woman is not only to hide us somewhere in the kitchen, but they can do the good. And I think Connie Bapela has proven it over and over and over that yes, that chamber needs to be called after her. And every time we walk in there, we'd be very proud to say we're walking into the Connie Bapela chamber. Thank you very much, Speaker, for what you are doing. And thank you to the ANC for giving us Connie Bapela. But also thank you to the DA for giving us a Susan Clark. These are phenomenal women before the grave and beyond the grave. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our wonderful panelists. And thank you for giving us a glimpse and information on the two powerful women we are honoring today. Now that we have passed the motions and we have discussed them with you all, our team in the office will follow due processes and implement these two motions in honor of these powerful great women, the late councillors Suzanne Clark and Connie Bapela. So ours, it is to implement the motions, and I am sure that when we officially launch this naming and renaming, we will have all of you to witness this great, the great recommendations that the City of Johannesburg has taken. Without waste of time or further ado, Sipho, do we have any other comments?
Thank you, ma'am.
Just 2 minutes so that I can hand over to Councillor Mfikwe.
Okay. The first one is going to come from a chat, which says, well spoken, Honorable Nkosi Malobane and Honorable Ndlovu, true reflection of who Buntle was to all the community of City of Johannesburg. She stood for the values of the caucus. She believes that she will one day lead the CoJ. She believed that one day we will lead the CoJ administration again, as the ANC, as deputy chairperson, contributed a lot in reclaiming the city of gold. Thanks for honoring her. Another one comes from Martha, says, thank you very much. It's overwhelming to hear and see two women that are being honored by the city of Johannesburg today. Jacob says, Amanda, congratulations to the two Mbogotos that are being honored today. Tabiseng says, Madam Speaker, thank you very much to you and your team. You are moving. The legislature is in safe hands. Thank you very much. That's it, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Sipho. I must say that on behalf of the councillors who are present on this platform and also those who are following on live stream and councillors who are not here, as a spokesperson of the legislature, I must say that in honor, or I must make a commitment on behalf of all the councillors, that in honor of these two strong women, we shall strive to keep and maintain the decorum of council as councillors of Johannesburg. And also in honor of these two powerful women, we shall serve the citizens of the city of Johannesburg with dignity and integrity, and we shall work together irrespective of our political parties. Over to you, Councillor Mtikwe.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I just zoomed into my camera so that you see it's me. I'm asking to get out of it as well. I'm using my cell phone, so the network is not that good.
Okay.
Let me thank you very much and acknowledge and thank Dr. Obed Bapela for logging in. Thank Comrade Sizagele, our chair of chairs in the province, for the history and mkhabola that she gave us about Comrade Kony. You know, those of us who drank in her wisdom when she was still alive, Comrade Sizagele warutusetsa. You know, Comrade Kony was phenomenal. She was a lady in the way she carried herself. She was a lady in the way she disciplined us. Rona Bobo Chabupule ba ANC. You know, she had her own way of saying, hey, Kilabana. So we really appreciated her because we grew in the knowledge that she gave to us. We appreciated her in the discipline that she meted against us, and we never took it personal. Comrade Sizagele, thank you very much. You know, you also are part of those people that we will call or we will name in our growth as young women, as politicians in the organization. You being there as well. We drank from your knowledge. We drank from your commitment. Thank you, my sister, my umamkhulu abantwana bam. Thank you very much. Comrade Tulani, my brother, my fellow fighter in the student politics. Thank you so much. You also shared with us your own experience of Comrade Kony. You also shared with us your own way of having her to encounter her love, encounter her education, encounter the mother that she was to all of us. And also thank Comrade Phumzile for walking with us the journey. We walked the same journey with Comrade Phumzile, with Comrade Kony. Thank you so much. Ms. Suzanne, Councillor Christian, I was saying to councillors in the city that, hey, she was very cheeky though, you know, and being a very cheeky woman who was always a disciplinarian in her own way. You know, she contributed as well to the decorum and the discipline of all of us in council. So we want to appreciate the council decision in honoring these two women, these two phenomenal women, and Councillor Christians and the ladies that you are with. Thank you very much for coming through and for sharing as well your own journey, your own personal experience of Ms. Suzanne. She was indeed a mother, you know, to the ladies and the Women's League that she formed. We really appreciate that. And to Dr. Nyati, to the speakers team, thank you guys for always being there to anchor these programs and to giving support to Madam Speaker in ensuring that all of us understand and know the work of the legislature. I don't have words for you, Madam Speaker. You know, my friend, my sister, my leader, you know, but thank you so much. Thank you for always knowing what to share with the community, how to educate their community. Our most important people that I want to thank are those ones that log in on Facebook, who are always there to learn, who are always there to give advice and share words of encouragement and encouraging us as well. I would also want them not to just give us encouragement, also do criticism so that we are able to perfect the work that we do. You know, overall, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. This was a very important and good program. Councillor Arnold, my beautiful MMC, you know, thank you as well for being a team player, you know, and I know, Madam Speaker, with her, you will drive the community participation that we need to do in ensuring that the council resolution is actually properly implemented. And thanks for being the type of person that you are, a willing player, MMC, and all the time willing to be a servant of the people of Johannesburg. For everybody else, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. We really appreciate these opportunities and keep on educating the community so that we become a better and informed community going forward. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Matsidi-Somfikwe, to you as well for thanking everybody and for those wonderful closing remarks and closing words we have made. Ladies and gentlemen, to our viewers, thank you very much for making this discussion such a powerful discussion. Your contribution is really appreciated. Thanks to all of you panelists. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the Bapela family. Thank you so much. Thank you to the old ladies that we saw there with the DA t-shirts. Thanks to everybody. And have a good evening. Dr. Nyati, as always, have a good evening. Bye-bye. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Bye, Madam Speaker. Bye, John.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Anthony.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, Tulani.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much. Good evening,
Bye, Chairperson
everybody.
Tulani.
Thank you, Councillor Fikwe.
Thank you, Councillor Mfikwe.
Hi, Cisco.
Thank you, my people.
Councillor
And councillors, thank you so much.
MPL 4C.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Tulani.
You are also here, my brother. Thank you. Thank you,
Mamuin, I'll see you in Cape Town.
Thank you, Babu.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Speaker.